fuck! You're being beaten. Ah! Ow! This is insane, man. They literally flies into the air. Oh.
The thing is, that's just attempted murder.
That's just throwing a brick at a man's head. So I definitely think we can do this one. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the COGS lab. This is where we make weird and wonderful contraptions using COGS.
Yep.
Obviously, we've decorated the COGS lab and we were feeling festive and we thought, what is the best thing about Christmas?
It's Christmas films.
Exactly,
Clearly.
Christmas films. And what is the best Christmas film?
It's, aside from Muppets Christmas Carol, it's Home Alone.
Right, I mean, I'll allow you that.
Thank you.
So, Home Alone is the best Christmas film, hands down. Most people would agree. And what is the best bit about Home Alone?
It's the booby traps.
The booby traps, right. And so basically we thought, can we replicate the booby traps using COGS? So we watched the film and we found that there are 6 different traps that we reckon can be COGSified.
And because we're making them on COGS, we're going to automate them, but also make them safer at the same time.
Exactly. So imagine that we were making the Home Alone immersive experience. This is how we would do it.
We're going to be taking 3 traps each, and then we're going to replicate the moments from the film for the camera.
Exactly. I will play the part of the robbers.
And I'll be playing the part of Kevin, for obviously age-related reasons.
Okay, so let's go through the plan. I'm going to walk you through the floor plan and all the traps we're going to set, and I'm going to use this little Lego minifigure to represent Alex. This is going to walk up to the front door. It's going to send an electric shock through his body, and hopefully he'll get a fry. After that, he's going to enter the front door and he's going to start to go up the stairs, going to release a hanging paint can and hopefully knock him down the stairs. He'll go left. What it's going to do is trigger an electrified foam blaster, which is then going to... close enough, fire bullets at Alex's face. He's going to head towards the bedroom. We're going to replicate having some sort of blowtorch by using a hairdryer. He's going to head to the storage room. He's going to try and find the light switch. When that happens, it's going to drop an iron on his head. Finally, he's going to head towards the living room. The door's going to be open and he's going to walk into some cling film covered in glue. As soon as he's wiped it off his face, he's going to walk into the living room and a fan is going to activate, blowing 300 feathers onto his face and sticking them there. Let's get this plan in action.
This is a pressure pad. When the robber steps on it, that will tell COGS that someone is there, and then we can activate the hot door handle. This is a TENS massager, and I try and attach the pad to the door handle, and hopefully that will sort of electrify it in some way. James has kindly stepped in as a test subject.
Even just clicking is...
Sorry, yeah, okay, so 1.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Really?
Yeah. Was that 1?
That was 1. I'm scared. I'm scared. Okay, I'm really scared now. Now I'm going to try and stick these to the door handle and see what it does. Discovery. Putting it directly onto the door handle did not work. I even tried sort of sandpapering the door handle a bit to try and get a better connection, but nothing happened. So what I did is I connected the pads to some tin foil to see what would happen. Yeah, you definitely can feel something. Oh yeah, you can definitely feel something. This will work. There's a piece of foil here attached to the door handle. The pad goes off into the letterbox. Can I feel it? Ah, yes, okay. Yes, yes, okay, yes. Yes, that works. Of course, the next problem that I have is to be able to turn it on when I want to, because I don't want it on all the time. Something needs to push that button. That could be harder than what I've just done. Let's see. Got a pressure pad here, into a digital master, into the router, and then that goes to COGS computer, and then the COGS will basically activate the actuator, which will turn on the TENS device, and then retract the pressure pad. And that's on. Let's put this all together and electrocute myself. So here we have COGS running on a computer, little router down here. We have the actuator that's going to turn on the TENS machine, COGS boxes, including a motor master and a digital master. Digital master's for the pressure pad, which is sitting there outside under the doormat. When that's activated, that activates this crazy thing here. Let's put this all together and see what it looks like.
And action.
Just tested the door handle. It worked really well. Too well, in fact. So yeah, I'd say that one is well and truly wrapped. Let's move on.
So the next thing to work on is a paint can. What we're going to do is we're going to suspend the paint can at the top of the stairs. Hopefully, I'm thinking of using a mag catch at the moment, so attaching the actual catch to the paint can itself, and then hopefully as the trigger, I'm going to use a distance sensor. Now this is going to take a bit of playing around when we get downstairs to actually mount it, to see if actually this is going to be the best sensor to use, or if there's a couple of other distance sensors that might do the job a bit better. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and rig it up. This one's going to take a lot of trial and error, so we'll wait and see how it goes. Hoping to screw this into the back of the paint can. Now it is a plastic paint can, and hopefully it will hold. I mean, it's bonkers, but I think it's going to work. First thing I've got to do is I've got to take this roll of twine and try and attach it to that handle on the window. It's going to take a lot of attempts in order to get this over. This is the first step so that we can make sure we've got the perfect swing on the paint can, so that when someone starts to come up the stairs, it will hopefully hit them in the face, like fishing.
Any of that oh, he's done it.
Well, it's over the handle, but now I'm going to try and use a light stand to try and fish it back. It's the point of it that I didn't really consider. Okay, we're on to something here. I'm just trying to figure out where to mount my mag catch in order to hold the paint can sort of about here. But hopefully I've got all of these desk mounted arms. So my thought is attach this to the door, extend it out a bit, and then we should be on to a winner. That should hold it exactly where we need it. Now that's roughly working, we're going to try and get the sensor working. I've brought down a couple of different types of sensors. The first one we want to try is this one. So this is an ultrasonic distance sensor. I want to try and mount it about here. So the idea is as someone's starting to walk up the stairs, they'll trip this. We can then send a trigger to the DC master to trigger the mag catch and release the paint can. So what I'm going to do is mount this here and give it a go. If we take a look on COGS here, what you can see is that if I trigger it about halfway across the stairs, we get our sensor turning on and off. The next step now is to make it so that as the robber starts to walk up the stairs, we're then going to trigger our mag catch. So I'm going to plug that in and hopefully get this all working. We're going to test this just to see the full force of it so we know what to expect. Alex is at the top. He's going to manually release the mag catch. So we're not going to trigger the actual sensor. We're just going to see what the swing is like.
Okay, all right. You ready?
No.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Ooh.
We've got a DC master and a sensor master. So we're using this to detect the sensor and to trigger the mag catch. We've got our little network down here and power as well.
Do this. I don't know why we're doing this, but okay. Let's get him, Marv. Fuck! Jesus Christ! I would definitely be foiled by that. Oh. Woo! Okay. Let's try that. Yeah, let's try that again.
And action.
Worry, Marv, I'll get him for you. Yes.
I'd say the paint can went pretty well. Pretty well technically, from a safety standpoint, if you were to make this an experience. Maybe you wouldn't use a real paint can, maybe you use a paint can made of foam, something like that. But the concept, I think, stands pretty well the test of time. On to the next one.
Be a good little fella now and open the door.
So the first one I've been given is simulating a BB gun. It's got two states. It's got a motor to start thing is to push the bullets out, and then a trigger as well. So because this trigger is just a button effectively, I'm thinking of wiring this up to COGS so that we can trigger the motor to start and then trigger something else to actually pull the lever, maybe a servo or something like that. So I think the first things first is to open this up and see how it works. In here we've got, well, it's not the best example, but we've got this little plastic bit on a spring, and what this is doing is when you pull the trigger, it's just pushing down a little micro switch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect it to a relay to the sensor master so that I can complete that circuit and hopefully start the motor. For safety, I've taken all the batteries out. I've got my relay and I'm going to connect up my wires. Now I don't know which is which on the button that we had inside, so we're just going to test. I'm going to wire this up to normally open and the common. We'll give that a go. I've got that wired up, so I'm just going to go into COGS now and hopefully see if this works. I've now got batteries back in it. I've got it wired up to the relay, so let's give this a go. Fantastic, there we go. So I've got COGS controlling the motor on our Nerf gun. The next step now, because we've got the trigger pulling without the motor running, obviously because we're simulating the motor. Ooh, it sounds like it's going a bit faster. What we're going to do now is try and figure out a way to trigger the trigger. This is the current thought. I've got the motor connected up to a sense master relay, and what I need is something to pull the trigger. The thing about using servo is I've actually got a clamp here. It's, you know, it's rudimentary, but it's meant to be a little bit. So we've got a clamp connected into the handle, and what we're going to do is just attach our servo roughly here. What's going to happen as we go to trigger the servo, it should hopefully have enough tension to press the trigger. Oh, this is going to work so well. I've got my servo channel set up, so I've just set my limit, so I've got my minimum and my maximum. What I'm going to do is just build a very quick behavior here. So what I'm going to say is when this is triggered, I want to update my servo position to 581, which is my bottom limit, and I'm just going to add a delay of 0.5 seconds. Then I'm going to set the limit back to full. We'll add another delay of a second, actually. That's probably best. So I'm just going to add a button on my dashboard that says when the button is pressed, I want to start behavior. I'm going to test this, and what happens when I pull the trigger? Amazing. So it pulls the trigger back and it releases. So let's load this up with some bullets and see if it works. If you like step in that corner, I'll try and sort of, I'll aim it sideways. Yeah. So let's give it a go. So we're going to turn on the motor and okay.
Genuinely works.
And action.
This is it. Don't get scared now.
Merry Christmas, little fella. We know that you're in there and that you're all alone. The door.
Okay, I'm being beaten. Right in the face.
It was a bit more aggressive than I thought it was going to, but that worked really well. Considering it's very hacked together, as I think all of these are going to be, I'm pretty chuffed with that. Sorry, Alex, for getting you nearly in the eye.
like right there, like right by the eye.
But you know, you've got to take some damage for art, and that's what we're doing. We're doing art. If you're a burglar, be warned. It's pretty damn powerful.
Now I've got to come up with a way to burn my head with a blowtorch without actually burning my head. I think I'm going to replicate that with lighting and heat. For that, I'm going to be using a hairdryer and a DMX light. I think I'm just going to use the good old-fashioned reed switch. Door opens, triggers, goes to the DM, goes to COGS. COGS then tells the DM to trigger this, which triggers this on and the DMX light at the same time. I think I figured it out. So on COGS, I have created a behavior which says when this door read turns off, i.e. when like the magnet is removed from the door is open, then click that relay on, turns this on, also turns on this light. And then when the door is closed again, it turns off. There we go, reed switch on the door. I come in, I am blasted directly in the head. But here we have COGS running with my little behaviors. I'm going to say that unlike yesterday, the door handle took me like many hours to get right. This one I set up in an hour. If you want to set this up at home, then you can. Obviously be careful. But yeah, it really is that quick with COGS.
And action.
A dead kid.
I think that went pretty well, as it did work. I think if you're ever going to do this safely, then that is pretty much the only way you could do it. And so, I mean, I had heat, I had light. On to the next one. Now we're going to look at when Marv gets the iron dropped on his head. Well, I wanted to keep the sort of pull cord thing. So what I'm going to do is I've got some string. To that, I'm going to mount a shake sensor. So if it moves, we're going to know. Let's try and make this work. We've got our iron. This is not made of metal. So how are we going to drop it? Easy way is to fix mag catch to that. So it will drop like this. So what I have here is a shake sensor. I'm going to mount that to the string. When I pull the string, it will rattle, and that will be the trigger point. But here we go. Yeah, that's going to work. So here we are in the utility cupboard. The iron will have to sit up here above my head. That's going to hurt. That is going to hurt. The small rigger watching, then give us free stuff because we will talk about it forever because it's so good. Now I've just got to wire that up and then work on this pull string thing. This is what we've got. Iron suspended in place by this bracket. Then I've stuck that to the ceiling there. The next thing we'll do is test how painful this is going to be. I've wired everything up and I've done some COGS action. All I've done is when the shake sensor is turned on, it will then check if there's a variable that's been pulled or not. Then it will turn on the mag catch and set the pulled variable to on. If you pull on it multiple times, it's not, the catch isn't just going to keep going and going and going. Let's give it a go. Test. Jesus, it's violent. That is working. Next thing to do is put myself under it. Just re-watching the scene with the iron light switch. Because it's sort of quite high up where the iron is, he pulls on it a bit and then he's like, what the hell's going on? And then it hits him. So there's a small delay. So I've added a small delay into COGS. So I'll pull on it and be like, what the hell's going on? And then it will drop on my head.
And action.
I think that went really well. Actually, that's actually one of the best ones. And actually, I can attest that even though it hurt a little bit, it didn't hurt that much. I think you could, with a bit of tweaking, make that into a pretty safe experience for someone to have an iron dropped on their head. I'm pretty chuffed with that one.
Now you're dead!
Next, we're going to work on the fan blowing the feathers into the Vaseline face. We've got a couple of different ways we're going to look at doing this. The tech of doing it's actually pretty simple. It's the mechanism to get it work that'll be the thing that takes a bit of time.
From what we've got here, essentially, we've got this same relay that we used for triggering the blowtorch, or the hairdryer, will be used to trigger the fan, because it's 240 volts. Cling film, there's the feathers in there, there's got 300 feathers, hopefully that's enough. And then there's the Vaseline. We could just use a proximity sensor, which would be pretty easy. We could use possibly a beam brake. He uses a piece of string in the actual film. So we were thinking, could we somehow replicate pulling on a bit of string across the doorway and making that work so it's a bit more accurate to the film. So let's do some testing with the fan and see if we can get some feathers blowing in our face. The idea is box up here, flaps open, feathers drop into the face first. So this is first test of dropping the feathers into the path of the fan.
So I've currently got it up as turning on the fan, waiting for about 4 seconds, and then releasing the mag catch box. Okay, ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. They at least moved in the correct direction.
They did go in the correct direction. I'm thinking we want to use a piece of string to detect when the robber comes into the room. And we're going to use maybe the trusty old shake sensor, really coming into its own here. And so we're going to put this string across the room and hopefully as I go through it, it will release, this will shake, triggering the mag catch box. The proximity sensor's here, that'll need a bit of tuning, but that means as I cross the threshold, that will start the fans, and then we're onto the tripwire, and then onto the fan with feathers. We're about to go for a shot. Everything's tested, everything's ready for the fan with the feathers in the face. So now all I have to do is prepare the cling film with the Vaseline. Why you? Now you're dead! Okay, anything sticking to the face?
There's a single feather on the
There's a feather. There's a feather on the face. We've re-angled the bottom fan to try and blow it more up into my face, see if that works. But everything else functioned exactly as we wanted to. The proximity sensor worked, the shake sensor worked. There was nothing else, that was all real. What we're doing now is perfecting it.
It's too late for you, kid. We're already in the house. We're gonna get you.
Okay, come and get me.
Who are you?
Now you're dead!
I think that was mostly successful. Obviously, it took a bit of time trying to figure out the direction of the wind for the feathers to actually hit. But I think all in all, having the feathers release down and then sort of lift back up, I think that was the
key.
I think we're right in the film. I don't think they used an actual fan. I think they
Definitely not.
a bucket.
It
of
was
feathers
all
to
like a singularly instant where it just puffed
yes
into the face, which probably wasn't a fan. But
Yeah.
if this was to be done in real life, then this is how you would do it. we've just finished the Home Alone booby traps. All 6 that we said we would do. And yeah, how do you think it went?
I think all in all, I'm pleasantly surprised by all of them.
I think the main challenge really was not COGS related at all. The COGS stuff was actually super easy. Every time we programmed COGS to do any of the logic, it took us maybe a minute.
That was the quickest
minutes.
part of each of them.
The hardest bit was trying to come up with just mechanically how it would work.
For the easiest one, I'd probably say the blowtorch might have been what was the easiest one.
That was very easy. The shock one, which was my first one I did, was already challenging because we had to get this thing to work. And we didn't really know how it worked.
Yeah.
When we figured it out, you had to have 2 pads. Turning it on was a bit of an annoyance, but once we got past that, it did work and it did hurt.
I think also it proves that for us trying to get it to be directly compatible with COGS, it wasn't as easy as plugging into it. But you know, using an actuator to press the button, you get the same result.
If you guys have any ideas for any future COGS Lab shenanigans like this, then please let us know. Hope you enjoyed watching it as much as we enjoyed making them. Please subscribe to the COGS Lab.
Thank you very much for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Bye!